Geneforge, the Geneforge series. This is Geneforge 1, the first of the games, obviously, unless, of course, you consider at negative numbers, but we don't. And this is a slightly older game. This comes out, I think, in, 2001, actually, you can see right here at the bottom. But it's a really fun, sort of like isometric turn-based RPG, kind of as they describe it themselves, a fantasy RPG with a sci-fi twist. It's pretty cool. And these right here are little creations we're going to be encountering and making and commanding in this game. It's pretty fun. Let's start a new game. We get to create a character. Now there's 3 classes that we can play: the Shaper, the Guardian, and the Agent. Now Shapers are basically they function like summoners almost, or something like that. They create a group of minions that fight for them. They're pretty fragile. They do not have good personal endurance, but they can create and command very powerful minions, and so they're quite fun, and they're kind of like they're the eponymous class and whatnot. I don't know. I think for this game, for this playthrough, I'm gonna play as a Shaper, and each one of the classes has strengths and weaknesses. The Shapers are very weak in their physical combat skills. They're decent in their magic skills, and they're very strong in their shaping skills. Shaping, of course, means the shaping in, magical creation of living beings. And the way this pans out is that the skills that you're strong in are cheap to purchase on level up, whereas the skills you're weak in are very expensive, and so it's not worth your time trying to level up too much in your weak area. See, a Guardian, it's strong in combat skills, very weak in magic, and decent enough in shaping. And then the agents are basically good for solo characters. They're decent in combat, very strong in magic, and they are weak in their shaping skills. So for the Shaper, it says, Shapers are skilled at magic and unmatched in their ability to create powerful creatures. However, they are physically frail. A Shaper will have to rely on its creations for protection. And that's very true. You definitely need bodyguards. Well, you need bodyguards, and you need, offensive units. The Guardians are the defenders of the Shapers. They are highly skilled in melee combat and can create creatures to aid them in an assault. However, their magic skills are otherwise weak. They can do a little bit of support magic. It's useful, but generally, yeah, they're not good at magic. Then agents travel around on the command of the Shapers and solve problems, usually violently. Their magic and weapon skills are strong, but they are not good at creating creatures. Agents tend to be harder to play. That's definitely true in this first game, Geneforge 1, because there's really not that. The magic system was not very well developed at this point in the series. But they're still interesting. But later on, even by the second game, the magic in the second game is much more powerful, and it's pretty cool. But anyways, we're going to play as a Shaper. And we can change the color of our Shaper. We can have the fresh blood or dried blood color. Dark blue. Brown, dark green, there it is. Bright blue. What color? Dark blue. Yeah, maybe dark blue. That's pretty cool. And name, not Andrus. What should we name our Shaper? It's kind of like a wizard. Kind of like a... What should we name him? name him. What's a good name? I need to think of a good name. Call him. This is Evodius. Evodius. There we are. Evodius. What a great name. I don't know, I like it. It comes from a dialogue written by St. Augustine way back in the day. I think it's on the free choice of the will, and it's a dialogue between Augustine and another person named Evodius when they talk about the free will. And that's actually pretty fitting for this game series. So we have 15 points to use to make our shaper, and we are going to, let's see. Now we have different areas. These are your basic stats: strength, dexterity, intelligence, and endurance. Your combat skills, magic skills, shaping skills, which includes your healing craft, which is basically like your healing magic, but it does count under shaping and magic actually. And then your general skills, which are leadership, mechanics, and luck. Luck governs, like, you know, I think some of your critical hit chance as well as some special encounters. Mechanics is for, you know, dealing with machines and machinery and dealing with disarming mines and opening locked doors. Extremely useful. And then leadership, that's basically your charisma skill, your ability to command or convince, and very useful. But anyways, for a shaper, we're going to want lots of intelligence, because intelligence governs not only how much magic you have, but how much essence. And essence is like the power you have to create magical creations. So he has a level of 4 already, but I'm going to put him at one more into intelligence. And then, let's see. Let's put another one into mechanics. And then put a couple into leadership. Now leaves us 4 points left. So what to do? I think I'm going to put one more into healing craft. And then put it into mechanics. All right, and there we go. And okay, so there's an interesting picture right there. So the Shapers are the oldest, most respected, most secretive, and most powerful of the magic sets. The Shapers have the power to magically create life. The Shapers can create new life forms from nothing but raw materials and pure magic. And they can mold this life to their purposes, be it major light housework or major warfare. The Shapers guard the secrets of their powers very closely. To learn their techniques without permission is to court a speedy death at the hands of a guardian in the day or an agent at night. After years of work, studying, and testing, you have finally been accepted into the Shapers. You will spend your life advancing their will and delving into their secrets and powers. However, none of those secrets have been shared with you yet. First, you must complete your apprenticeship. You must spend 5 years out in a Shaper colony on a remote island, watching their work and aiding their research. It looks like he's... this is what's called an artilla. An artilla. It's an acid-spitting worm. Pretty useful. That guy looks ominous at best. Nefarious at more likely. After a brief welcoming ceremony and last night's celebration, you don your traditional garments and board your craft to the remote islands. The journey is 2 weeks long. You travel on a living craft, a specially modified drake, which will carry you across the ocean to your destination. I can't read that right there. After a week or so, you pass by a small chain of islands. You consult your chart and find out that one of them is named Susha Island. It is marked on your chart as barred. Shapers declare places barred for a variety of reasons. Experiments gone wrong, dangerous accidents, valuable secrets. Whatever the reason, any outsider in a barred place is punished with instant death. Curious, you stand at the edge of your craft, carefully watching Susha Island, wondering what secrets lie there. As you watch, you fail to notice a sailing ship dead ahead of you, off the southeast coast of the island. Now that looks like much more typical, what we think of a typical sailing ship, as opposed to this living craft that our character's on. Your craft cries out in alarm, alerting you to the danger. It's a strange ship of a style you've never seen before. That is why you didn't recognize the weapon on its prow. It fires a long spear at your craft. The razor-sharp bolt strikes the drake in the neck. It roars in pain and fury and fires a bolt of fire at your attacker, which sets its sail ablaze. The battle takes only seconds. Your living craft founders, mortally wounded, dropping you into the water. Your goods and tools sink into the depths. You attempt to swim to the surface. You barely notice that the ship which attacked you is aflame and having extreme difficulty. Your whole being is consumed with the struggle to reach the shore. Your strength is not enough. And if you've ever done like waterproofing, I might add, you know, water where you have to learn how to swim, stay afloat when wearing heavy clothing. I had to do that in the army. It is no joke. Yeah, wearing those heavy robes right there. Yeah, you'd be toast. You would sink very quickly because you get so exhausted. Even if you're a decent swimmer, wearing all that, you'd have to shed those clothes real quick. But anyways, your strength is not enough. You start to sink, but with one last effort, your living craft assists you. Bleeding from its neck, rapidly dying, it manages to lift you with its head and carry you to a crumbling dock. Then it dies. It sinks away, and you are left alone, abandoned on this forbidden shore. You are alone on Susha Island. Poor living craft. That sucks. And there we are, looking at that weird craft. Alright, welcome to Geneforge. These early sections are a tutorial, which will help you to get started. Select your character by clicking on it. Click a spot on the ground to walk there. Basically, this is very standard, isometric RPGs. There's no voice acting in this game, by the way, which is good. Voice acting typically gets on my nerves after a while. But yeah, and there's no actual background music. It's all just, what do you say, ambient sound effects and background sound effects. Alright, you stagger off the dock, weakened to the point of collapse by your desperate swim here. After a few minutes, you manage to regain enough of your senses to look around. You're on the south coast of the island you saw before your craft was slain. However, apart from the fact that the island was declared barred by your people, you know nothing about it. The structures around you are ruined and crumbling. You would guess that they have been abandoned for at least a century, probably two. Islands are generally barred because of a failed experiment and the presence of horrible rogue creatures. Fortunately, except for the lapping of the waves at the base of the dock, all is quiet. If you are going to be devoured, it won't be soon. However, you are still stranded here, and desperately weak as well. Fortunately, the beach stretches off to the east. Maybe there is something useful there. Desperately weak is right. We basically are. We're bait right now. Now, see, look around. It's got a pretty basic graphics, but, this is a 20-year-old game now? And even then, it's an indie game. And so, limited budget. It's trash. Let's see if we can find anything. But it's really good. And the series, as it goes on, just gets better and better. I really liked it. I like games with ambient sound effects, by the way. I just always find that to be... I don't know. Yeah, there we are. Got a sharp stick. Click on this. This is a weapon. It is wielded in your right hand and used to damage foes. We won't really use this very long. But now we have a stick. There is a tunnel to the north. built into the side of the hill. Your guess is that it is a storeroom or warehouse. Usually one is placed near the docks of a settlement. After all these years, most of the goods inside are probably useless. You might be able to scavenge something, however, though. Another thing, Geneforge games, there's lots of reading. Now, it's definitely, there's that saying that people always talk about, show, don't tell. Well, I think Geneforge does a good job of, showing and telling. And the guy who made these games, Jeff Vogel, is a pretty good writer, so I like, his telling is not bad. Alright, picked up a garment, piece of chest armor. This gives us armor +1. Okay, so there's both armor slot, and then later we'll find a cloak, like an overgarment slot as well, which is pretty cool. And nothing. Ah, some javelins. Yeah. Spoons and bowls, not useful to us. So if we wanted to, we can equip these instead of our stick. Now if we look right here, see statistics and abilities. Let's look at statistics. This brings up this menu, which is basically what we were looking at the beginning. And you see, we have Shapers start with 2 ranks in missile weapons and 0 ranks in melee weapons. So for us right now, given that we probably don't know any magic either, no, we know no magic, we're better off using javelins as long as we have them. There's an office to the west. The shelves on the wall have nothing on them but dust. The box in the corner, however, might contain something useful. Well, right there, I see. Well, there's some money on the ground, 12 coins, and a cloak. And this is a cloak or robe. It is worn over your armor and provides extra protection from enemy blows. This is a garment that can be worn over a suit of armor or breastplate. Shapers are generally fond of heavy robes and dramatic cloaks. Shapers, as we'll find, are kind of full of themselves. But they're cool in their own way, I suppose. The box contains a variety of papers. You rifle through them, eagerly hoping for a clue as to where you are, or what might have caused this island to be barred. It's no use. The papers crumble at your touch. Beneath the papers, though, you find something interesting. A brass key, none the worse for wear for its long concealment. You take it. Alright, cool. Got a brass key, got a brass key. Here? Yes, we can. Okay, so those doors are kind of cool. They're like, as we'll learn later, I think, they're controlled by a living mechanism. Because everything in Shaperdom, in the world of Shapers, all the mechanisms, well, not all the mechanisms, but most of the mechanisms are, and things that we would do with mechanisms or electronics, is done with magic and living creatures. It's pretty interesting. A good fantasy world. Inside this small chamber, you find several cylindrical containers. They look like canisters, each a little over a foot high. The sides are made of thick, carefully blown glass. Most of them have been broken, and the contents are long lost. One of them, however, is still intact. Inside you see a glowing fluid. It swirls and moves about, seemingly under its own power. It's like it is, in its own way, alive. It probably is. You have never seen anything like this before, but you have seen similar objects. The Shapers can contain fluids filled with life energy, which heal or energize those in need, and this must be something like that. There is a small section of fragile glass at the top. If you break it with the palm of your hand, the substance will come forth and energize you. In your weakened state, it seems hard to resist. Click on a canister to use it. Now, of course, being a prudent Shaper, we immediately drink the glowing fluid. Yum yum, mutagen. Blip, 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 blip. When you open the canister, the agents inside begin to act upon you. You feel yourself changing. Evodius increases firebolt by 1. Well, Ah, here it is. Okay, we can see. The thing down to the left is a door. Oh, are you sure? Stand next to it, and it will open. Not all doors open automatically, though. Sometimes you need to pull a lever to open a door, and sometimes the levers are secured and need keys to unlock them. That's correct. And sometimes you find the keys, and sometimes you can pick the lock. But we'll do that later. So we got a spell, which is pretty cool. I don't know if we can... We learned... Let's see our abilities. Yeah, we learned Firebolt, which is going to be basically for us as a shaper our primary attack spell. Here's the magic system, the skill system. There's 3 attack spells: Firebolt, Sear, and Searing Orbs. Unlock, Terror, and Dominate. Basically, this is unlock doors and locks. This is, terrify your enemies, and this is basically charm them to fight for you. A War Blessing, which I think this one makes it so you have a increase to your accuracy, speed, which makes you have more action points, and Mass Energize, which boosts up all your party and heals them a bit. Then craft your heal spell, your cure spell, and your mass healing and curing spell, and the different types of creations. But we'll deal with that later. Let's, for now, keep going. You stumble a bit. You still feel a bit woozy. It's not caused by hunger, though, but by the effects of the strange substance in that canister. The stuff didn't heal or revive you like you expected. It changed you. It's like it soaked into your skin and rewrote some of your being, making you stronger. I've always had problems saying words with like W and R, like or phrases like "rule the world." I don't know. You take a minute to experiment. You extend your fingers and focus. Tiny trails of flame come out of them. You can work magic, and you weren't able to before. Your training would not have reached that point for years. It is exhilarating and, at the same time, terrifying. This is completely unknown magic, alien to you. It seems like it was made by your people, but you had no idea they could do something so wonderful. You feel, deep within yourself, an eagerness to find more of the canisters and see what they can do. The canisters are your main way to gain abilities while on the Isle. You can have at least one... If you have at least one level of battle magic skill, you can now cast Firebolt. Let's check our abilities again. Battle magic? Yes, we do. Okay. So if we hit... Yeah, see? Okay. Pressing the F button, we bring up our combat menu. And we do indeed have our Firebolt. So, there's no one to fight right now. And just some rocks. Anything in here? Ooh, a healing pod. It's basically a healing potion. It works to heal one character. There's... Ooh, thorns. Now, thorns are basically, as we'll see, they're ammunition for shaper weapons. The door to the north is locked. The lever inside the guard post will open it, but only if you can find the key. Levers can be unlocked with the right key, by having enough mechanic skill, or by using enough living tools on them. Alright, well, here's a knife right here. So let's pick up the knife. A dagger. But use of the dagger is forbidden. A tunic, but we have one of those, and they're not worth that much. And a wooden shield, which is always good. I think we have the key for that. Your keys unlocks the chains. But let's equip our shield and drop that stick. Don't need a stupid stick. This was probably the barracks for some guardians or agents. There isn't much left, and the beds are ruined. It's starting to look like whoever was here left very quickly. A bunch of stuff was left behind. Huh. Nope. More tunics. Another knife. We don't need another knife. But more javelins. Let's take them. Now you do have a weight limit in this game. You have a maximum inventory limit, but you also have a maximum weight limit, which is... depends on your strength score. So right now, we're carrying 28 pounds, and we get encumbered at 73. So we have a good amount of space for now. Seeing as we will not be wearing heavy armor... Oh, get that cow off the line. We're not going to be wearing heavy armor, so that won't be that big of a problem, but still. At some points, we'll get over-encumbered, and that impacts how many action points you have during combat. See, is that cool? I don't know. I think the Shaper with Shaper robes looks pretty cool. Very mysterious. You immediately recognize where you are now. It was an inn where visitors and travelers could stop for steaks, drinks, and sleep. The crumbling roasting pit still dominates the center of the room. You're getting confused. Why is there so much here? Most islands are barred because of experiments gone awry, and such experiments are performed by very small groups in crude quarters far from a society. Yet you've seen warehouses, guard posts, and now an inn. At one point, a lot of Shapers lived here, and now they're all gone. Why? What could have driven so many people off, and what took their place? A just question, my lord. Hello? Anybody here? There's nobody here. Anybody? Anybody? A robe. And a belt. Alright, cool. Now, a robe, +3 to armor. I think it goes over where the cloak is, which is only +1, so let's put it on. And a belt, +2 to armor. There we are. Now, I think there's also shoes, and I don't know if there's anything else. Oh, and a ring, a slot for rings and shoes. There are no helmets in this game, which is kind of odd, but you know, whatever. Who needs to protect their head, right? That's crazy talk. Pull the lever. Woohoo! Nothing. Healing pod, healing pod. Very useful. Now you can later on learn, well, we'll learn a healing spell at some point, as we saw. But healing during combat takes, I think, like 5 action points, whereas using an item like a healing pod only uses 3, so it can be useful at times. Looking to the north, you can see that you are not alone on this island. Though you are worried about horrible creatures and mutations, the first life you encounter is nowhere near so terrifying. It is a flock of orcs. The orc is a Shaper creation. It's a slow, clumsy livestock animal, hardy and laden with meat. Shapers created them to stock areas unfriendly to non-created animals, such as apparently this island. You notice that these orcs have large tusks, probably added by the Shapers to protect them from predators. Fortunately, they are likely to leave you alone if you leave them alone. Yeah, orcs are like super useful animals. Meat. This particular piece of livestock seems friendly enough, but it has neither the inclination nor the ability to carry on a conversation with you. Oh, a gemstone. Nice. Okay, so this is the shaded area to the north with the barriers up. When you walk onto it, you will leave this area and be able to choose where you would like to go next. Yeah, the Geneforge basically breaks its map up into zones, each of which you can explore. There's different conditions for clearing them, opening them up, but we'll see that in a second. Let's see what's over here before we leave. Always pays to explore. Of course, sometimes you just get your butt kicked if you explore, but in general, it always pays. Sometimes it's always fun. Money, 35 coins, and more thorns. The lever, okay, this door was locked right here, but since we have some skill in mechanics, we're able to pick it. And these, someone left a cache of weapons in this secured chamber. Perhaps he or she planned to return here later. These are icy crystals. They're basically one-time magic attack items. Pretty useful. And a bunch of trash. Just what I always want. Oh, there's some thorns. No, nothing. Oh, that was pretty useful. All right. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. This is just a preliminary episode, and next time we will proceed onward into Susha Island. Thanks for joining me on my first episode of my Geneforge Let's Play. Take care, y'all.